Hey everyone, Cody Baynard here, and today I'm going to be discussing my thoughts on the latest record from Blackbraid titled Blackbraid 2. Blackbraid is an Indigenous, Native American themed atmospheric black metal project, mostly comprised of the main member John Krieger, who handles most of the instrumentation. With his debut last year, he showcased a very interesting kind of sound that combines the visceral, raw brutality of more traditional black metal, kind of along the lines of Bathory, as well as a little bit of the more folk-leaning aspects of bands such as Ulver or even Enslaved. And all of this is sort of presented with a more modern, more full, bigger, more clean production quality, while still having a bit of an organic edge to fit in with the, nature themes and whatnot, resulting in a pretty intriguing and enjoyable debut album. And while I was not necessarily in love with it, I found myself intrigued enough by it to be able to feel excited for whatever this project would come up with next. And here we are, less than a year later. Blackbraid 2 is here, which is pretty wild. What's even more wild to me is that Blackbraid 2 really expands on and refines a lot of what made Blackbraid 1 really good, resulting in an album that I feel is even better, and I think showcases a lot of the band's talents in a more realized form. All of this is felt almost right away with the opening two tracks, Autumn Hearts Ablaze and The Spirit Returns. Autumn Hearts is a 2-minute acoustic intro, which really helps to set the tone of the whole record, as well as tease in a little bit of the main theme of the first core track, The Spirit Returns, which very effectively showcases all of the album's different sounds and styles that you will be subject to for the rest of its runtime in a pretty concise 4.5-minute package. While it is the record's shortest and arguably one of the more accessible tracks on the album, I do find that it still feels very epic and expansive in nature. That being said, everything that makes The Spirit Returns really epic is then further expanded on during the following track, The Wolf That Guides the Hunter's Hand, which is a 7.5-minute opus where the album takes on a bit more of a more adventurous as well as a little bit more progressive flavor. Lots of really visceral as well as really exciting riffs and guitar work and percussion and vocals, along with like a very wonderful folky underbelly to help provide the record's unique sound and charm. Spells of Moon and Earth is another really nice 2.5-minute interlude that helps to provide a bit of an instrumental break from the metal brutality, as well as again tease in the main theme of the album's following track, titled Moss-Covered Bones on the Altar of the Moon, which is the album's first single as well as its longest at 13.5 minutes, which always felt like a very weird decision for bands to make when marketing their album, but I digress. This song, for the most part, I think does a very nice job at maintaining your interest throughout its 13.5 minutes. There's a lot of different movements and sections that comprises this piece, and everything flows together in a pretty progressive fashion, which I really do like. I especially really enjoy the kind of middle section with this really nice, almost marching groove that is accented thanks to some really nice folky melodies. That being said, the outro of this track, when compared to all of the other ideas leading up to it, feels to me relatively kind of boring and a little unnecessary. The last 3 or 4 minutes of the song takes on a little bit of a more slow as well as more doomy approach, which in theory is cool and I think could help to end things on a very big, bombastic, atmospheric, and emotive note. But in execution, the main riff that is repeated over and over again just does not feel interesting enough to warrant being played this slowly and also repeated this many times. And the song does nothing to expand on that main riff ever. Thankfully, that is made up by the following track, titled A Song of Death on Winds of Dawn, which is another really long piece at 11 minutes. And sure, while maybe this song's length may not be the most justified either, I think this song does a significantly better job at keeping things interesting throughout its runtime. This is one of the fastest and most blistering and visceral numbers on the record. However, towards the middle, there is a softer section where the band emphasize the more folk-like instrumentation to help build atmosphere and tension towards the song's, finale. After another really nice acoustic interlude, Celestial Passage, we have what is probably my favorite track on the record, titled Twilight Hymn of Ancient Blood. This song feels to me like it is split in two parts, but everything still somehow works together very well. The first half of this track is driven by this slow and very menacing groove that feels very enticing as well as almost ritualistic in a way. Then out of nowhere, the second half of this number takes on an almost traditional heavy metal some kind of approach. Like I can almost see singers such as Ronnie James Dio or Rob Halford singing on top of this section of the track. And sure, I'm not really much of a traditional heavy metal guy or thrash metal guy myself or anything like that, but goddamn, this second half of the song goes so friggin' hard, and I headbang my head off every single time it comes in, resulting in such a fucking banger of a track. Things end on a pretty somber and emotive note with Sadness and the Passage of Time and Memory, which is one of the more slow-paced and melancholic tracks on the record, as the name suggests. Especially towards the end, where we have this very big finale that is made even more emotive thanks to these very somber guitar leads, ending the core album on a very cool note, in my opinion. Oh yeah, and there's also a cover of Bathory's A Fine Day to Die, which personally I don't really have much to say about other than it's cool, it's decent, it's a cover. I hope Bathory fans love it. Other than some minor pacing issues, overall this record I think is very solid and very well done throughout. If there's any other minor criticism I do have with it, it's that a lot of songs use pretty similar chord progressions, but I think these chord progressions are still handled pretty tastefully for the most part, thanks to a good amount of leads and whatnot to keep things interesting, as well as a great sense of atmosphere that this whole record is drenched in. John Krieger seems to be a very talented individual and a very interesting voice in the black metal scene. And while I maybe do find this album a little bit overhyped in the grand scheme of things, especially when compared to other black metal projects released this year that I prefer more, such as stuff from bands like And Oceans, Dod Heimsgard, Enslaved, and Fantifaxeth. This still feels to me like one of the better black metal records of 2023, and I am thoroughly excited for whatever Blackbraid comes up with next, and I hope that Blackbraid 3, or whatever the next album will be called, continues to expand on these already very endearing qualities and make them potentially even more exciting. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Blackbraid 2, so please let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of this record? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And as always, please feel free to like and subscribe and comment, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!